Okay everyone, welcome back to Mike's Yoga channel and welcome to this bedtime yoga for stress and anxiety sequence. When you're ready, put on something comfy, roll your mat, and let's get started. Okay everyone, so let's begin tonight's practice coming into a seated position of your choice. Feel free to sit up on a block or a pillow here. And then in this seated position, let's rest our hands on our knees or in our lap. And from here, start to close your eyes and just simply come back to your breath. Fully arriving in this moment, fully arriving on your mat. And as we go about tonight's short practice, I want you to see if you can develop a 6 and 6 breath. So inhaling for 6 seconds and exhaling for 6 seconds. So for me personally, whenever I practice any sort of Yin Yoga or any sort of relaxing, gentle yoga sequence, I really like to incorporate this 6 and 6 breath. As for me, I find it really helps me ground down, helps me relax, it helps me become even more present. So I encourage you to try it out, see for yourself. And if you are dealing with any sort of stress or anxiety, I really want you to see if you can look at all the predicaments in your life with humor, as this is the first step to really becoming unattached from everything. So in other words, I want you to see if you can develop the belief that anything that may be happening in your life, whether it may seem good or bad, is really just all part of your divine journey into getting you where you ultimately want to go, or where you intend to go, or where you intend to be. And it may seem good or bad in the moment, and you may not know why these things or events or circumstances are happening to you, but see if you can just develop the belief that it's all part of the journey, it's all part of the process, and just have faith and just trust the journey. Everything is as it should be. And when we become detached, it really helps us become more present, more aware, and it just gives us a whole new perspective. So yeah, and from here, let's just come back to our breath, inhaling for 6 seconds, and exhaling for 6 seconds. You are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. And when you're ready, we'll come into our first pose, which is a head to knee pose. If you're sitting on a block or a pillow, feel free to just set it to the side. So from here, let's start with our right leg, extending the right leg long, keeping this right foot flexed. Our left foot can come into our right thigh. And from here on our next inhale, let's bring our hands up towards the sky. Exhale, shift a little bit towards that right leg, and then melt forward. Really breathing into the back of the right leg here. Sending our hamstrings, our calves in love. Inhaling for 6. And exhaling for 6. On your next exhale, slowly roll it back up, and we'll take it over to the other side. Extending that left leg long, keeping this left foot flexed, and then bringing that right foot into our left thigh area. On your next inhale, bring the hands up towards the sky. Exhale, shift a little bit towards that left leg and then melt forward, really breathing into the back of the left leg here. And exhale, slowly roll it back up. From here, we'll take a high Cobra. So planting the hands in the mat, setting the legs all long here. And from here, just really opening up the chest, opening up the heart, keeping that core slightly engaged. Breathing here. And exhale, curl the toes and lift the hips up, coming into downward facing dog. From here, keep your fingers spread wide, hands are actively pushing you into the mat. And then feel free to pedal your feet. Again, breathing into the back of the legs. Inhaling for 6, and exhaling for 6. On your next exhale, lower the knees down and bring the knees as wide as the mat, letting the big toes touch. And keeping the hands where they are, we'll just come back into a nice child's pose. Feel free to rest your forehead in the mat. And come back to your breath. On your next exhale, let's make our way onto our backs. Take your time getting there. And once we get to our backs, let's bring our knees into our chest and give ourselves a big hug. Feel free to rock side to side here if that feels nice. Now from here, we'll start to open up our hips. So let's plant the left foot into the mat and then cross our right ankle over our left leg here. So we'll come into a reclined pigeon pose. So from here, let's lift that left leg up off the mat. So the left calf is pretty much parallel with your mat. Right foot is flexed, left foot is flexed. And then with your hands, let's thread them through and grab a hold of the back of the left leg here. So you should definitely feel this in your right hip flexor. Continue to breathe. exhale, release. We'll take it over to the other side. So planting that right foot in the mat, stepping that left foot over your right leg, lifting that right leg up off the mat, keeping both feet flexed. Again, threading your hands through, this time grabbing the back of the right leg. You should definitely feel this in your left hip flexor. Breathing. And exhale, release. This time let's bring both the feet down into the mat. And from here, let's lift our hips up towards the sky, coming into a bridge pose. So if you have a block, you can place it in between your knees. If you don't have a block, you can just imagine a block in between your knees. So you don't want your knees to be coming out. You want to keep them nice and straight. And then from here, let's shimmy the shoulders underneath, clasp the hands together. And we'll just take a couple breaths here. On your next inhale, let's bring our hands up towards the sky. Come up on the tiptoes and then exhale. Slowly lower the spine back to the mat. And we'll take a constructive rest. So bringing the feet as wide as the mat, letting the knees knock in towards each other. You can have one hand on your belly, the other one on your heart. Exhale, release. From here, we'll come to our second last pose, a reclined butterfly. So bringing the soles of the feet together, letting the knees open up wide, letting the hips open up even more. Again, you can have one hand on your belly, the other one on your heart, or you can just rest your hands down by your sides. Coming back to the 6th and 6th breath. This is one of my favorite hip openers. I try and do this pose at least once a day. So a lot of the time, what tends to happen is we tend to store a lot of energy and emotions in our hips. And depending what our day-to-day life looks like, we don't really get the opportunity to open up our hips. So when we open up our hips, we kind of release all this energy, all these emotions. So if emotions or anything comes up, just let it happen, be present. Exhale, let's extend the legs out long, extend the arms out long, coming into final Shavasana. Again, come back to your breath. I encourage you to stay here in Shavasana for as long as you like. If you want to fall asleep here too, that's totally fine. Or if you want, we can rock up into a seated position of your choice once again. And wherever you are, let's bring our hands together at our hearts. And I want to thank you all so much for sharing your time and your energy with me this evening. I hope you all have amazing sleeps. I hope you all feel deeply relaxed. I know I do. And wherever you are, let's bring our hands up to our third eye. Light in me honors the light in all of you. Again, thank you so much. Namaste.